Hey guys, it's Neec trucking along here, and I'm coming to you today with an update on what's been going on with me for the past few weeks. So, Sunday was my last day of overnight student, and they basically taught me everything that I needed to know, and they were telling me, "You're ready to go test. You're ready to go test." And I'm like, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not ready to go. I don't want to leave." So, I don't know, it was like this big debate because I didn't want to go, but they were telling me that I was ready, and I'm like, I'm not ready. They're like, you're ready. So my last break, it was from 3 to 4. We came back and they put me on the pad, and he's like, we're just gonna do a practice run through, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. He didn't say anything about an E valve or in nothing. So of course I'm not thinking about it. I don't have the stress of trying to pass the test. So, I'm running through it. I'm doing every single, back of maneuver, straight back. I got it. Right side parallel, left side parallel, got it. The offsets, did it. Alley dock, I had a little bit of trouble with it because it's just trying to get the big truck in that little box. It was hell. But, I mean, I got it in there, and then as soon as it was over, he was like, okay, so tomorrow's going to be your readjustment day. And I'm like, huh? What do you mean? And he was like, you're going to test on Tuesday. And I'm like, you're lying. I didn't even pass the test. I didn't even do my eval. And he was like, you just did it. And I was like, so you just lied to me? So you just told me that I was doing practice, but I was really doing my eval? Some shady stuff, man. Some shady stuff. But I was like, okay, whatever. All right, all right. So, I was like, I don't want to go Tuesday. I want to go Wednesday, so I get like extra day of like resting. I want to go Wednesday. But they was like, no, 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 you're ready. You're going to go Tuesday. You're going to go Tuesday. So I'm like, ugh, okay. So I'm like, all right, whatever. Let's do it. So I got in the mindset of having to do it on Tuesday. And so Tuesday morning comes, I wake up, I get dressed, get myself ready for the test. I'm like, I'm going to pass, I'm going to pass, I'm going to pass. My confidence is like here, and so then, I get up there, they wake you up at like 5-ish. And so you have to catch the shuttle by 6 because you have to be in the Millennium Building in the briefing room at like 6:30-ish because they start testing around 7, supposedly. So, I get in there, once we get into the briefing room, one guy is talking to me, and I'm like, it's too much to take in. The other guy is calling up people one by one to have them sign in. And when you go, you have to have your permit, your temporary permit, you have to have your temporary driver's license, and you have to have your birth certificate with you just in case, that one of those other things, didn't work out. So you got to have all that stuff with you. And if you don't have it, you don't test. So they call you up, they sign you in. And because I was an overnight student, I didn't have a trainer. So they basically say, are you an overnight student? And I say yes. Or they say, like, are you in the accelerated program? And I say yes. And they're like, okay, cool. So why they ask you that is because when you're in the accelerated program, aside from someone who went on the road with the trainer, they basically set up the test course for you. So instead of me, having to check the truck and, pull the truck onto the lot, onto the testing site, I don't have to do that. They do everything for me. They check my truck and they pull my truck onto the thing. So all I have to do is do my pre-trip on the truck and, start, my backup maneuvers. That's the only thing I have to do. And, once that, then I start driving. But other than that, that's what it was. I didn't have to do anything. So that was a plus. So I was the 8th person on the sign up sheet. They ask you basically, are there any first time testers? And, they go first. And then like the retesters, they go last because they probably tested the day before or, before that. So, I was number 8. I'll never forget that. And so then, once we finished signing in, then we played the waiting game. And oh, you have to wait so long to go test. Like it's ridiculous how long they make you wait. And it's just like you're waiting, like you see one person go out, another person go out, one person comes back, and then, they take off the name, and it's just like one by one. It was like everybody was failing. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I'm getting kind of nervous now because, nobody has passed the test who's going in front of me. It's getting closer to me having to go, and nobody is passing. So, of course, that got to me. And I'm just like, okay, well, I need to bring myself back. I need to get ready to pass this test. And so, then, he was like, all right, we're ready for you to come. And I'm just like, oh gosh, no, I'm not ready. So, finally I just had to, suck it up and like, all right, it's time for me to test. So basically, I went out there and he's like, okay, so we're going to start with the pre trip. And I'm like, okay, cool. And so after he told me that, he's like, I'm going to pull your truck up onto the testing pad. And then when I get out of the car, you're going to walk this way and you're going to go this way onto the testing pad. And then I'm going to let you know when it's ready for you to come on. And I'm like, okay. Okay. So he pulled it up and then he let me know. And then I walked up there and he's like, okay, are you ready to do your pre-trip? And I'm like, okay, I'm ready to do my pre-trip. Let's go. I know this. I know my pre-trip. I'm ready. So he's like, okay, so we're going to start with coupling. And I'm like, oh, all right, coupling is easy. Like, I can do coupling. So then, I'm just like, oh, and it's like the nerves really got to me. Like, my hands were shaking. I was like, oh my gosh, like I need to, relax. And I couldn't relax. And I'm like, the only thing I brought with me was a water bottle. So I'm like, excuse me, Mr. Examiner, can I please get some of my water? He's like, yeah, go ahead. And I'm like, okay, thank you. So I went in the truck, I got my water bottle out, drunk it. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to pretend because I'm so nervous because I'm so used to doing it with the overnight, instructors, seeing him there, me not knowing him, it freaked me out something terrible. So I'm like, I'm going to talk to my water bottle and I'm going to tell my water bottle about my pre-trip. And that's exactly what I did. But like, I kind of turned this way a little bit and I was talking to my water bottle, but he could hear what I was saying. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure he knew what I was doing, but I just could not look at him and tell him the parts on the truck. I just, for some reason, couldn't do it. It was just no. So I finished my pre-trip. I did my NCAB. I passed. So then we move on to the backing. And then he tells me, all right, so you're going to do straight back. So I started doing my straight back. I'm like, okay, cool. I did it. I got it back there. He's like, all right, pull up. Now you're going to do a right side offset. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I did it, pulled in, I got it in the box, did good. So then he told me your last maneuver. And I was scared that I was going to get this maneuver because me and the alley doc just really don't get along. So then I got the alley doc, the dreaded alley doc. Oh my gosh. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Just relax. You got this. So I get in there, and I'm starting to back it in there, and I'm looking, I'm pulling it back, and for some reason it's just not working. Like, it's not working. So I'm like, okay. So in my head, I'm like, okay, don't let him blow the whistle on you. Use your 2 pull-ups. I used one get out and look when I had got to the corner. And so I probably had like one more left. So I'm like, all right, I need to get going. So then, it was just all hell broke loose. I ran out of time. I didn't point out, which was a good thing, but I just ran out of time and he blew the whistle on me. So needless to say, I failed. I did not pass my first time taking my CDL test. I didn't pass at all. So, I mean, I wasn't mad because I did everything that I knew that I could do, in that situation that I got myself in, because I knew how to fix it if I went too short and I cut it short, but I did not know how to fix it if I cut it too wide. And that's exactly what I did on test day. I went too wide and I just didn't know how to fix it, and it just screwed me up. So I had to go back. Basically that same day, I had to go back to the overnight class at 7 p.m. And like I worked on my alley doc, because my favorite, backing maneuvers is the offsets and the parallel. Like, I could do them like that with no problem. With the parallel, I don't need my 2 get out and looks on the parallel. I don't need it because, once I get my points done, I know I'm in the box. So I don't really have to get out and look. So, I was pretty okay with that. And so then I get a weird ass phone call, like out of nowhere, like from like a year ago. Like, I had tried to join the Army and, I scored a 33 on my test. And, at that point in time, they were saying 33s were basically for, reserves. And I'm like, okay, well, no, I don't want to do reserves. I want to do active. So, he was like, well, I'm just giving you a heads up. You might be doing other things in your life. I don't know where you're at. but your 33 is now being accepted in the Army and you can go active duty. And so I'm like, it was basically like a kind of like a sweet and sour kind of thing, because it's sweet that he's telling me this, because I'm like, hey, I might be able to go, and enlist in the military. But it's also kind of sour because I just basically failed my CDL test. And so I'm just like, ugh. It was just a mess. It was just a mess. Like, I was overwhelmed, I was confused, I was frustrated. I didn't know what to do. And so I was a mess. I was just a mess. So basically, they were like, come back tomorrow and you get to retake your test. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to pass this test tomorrow because I'm not failing it again. Like, I can't, do this failing thing. It's not me. I'm not used to failing. In nursing, I probably failed like one test and that was it. But other than that, all my tests I took for nursing, I never failed. Like, I had like 90s, 100s, at the worst, at 85, but I passed. So I'm like, I was feeling low that I didn't pass. So I was like, I was happy that, that they were letting me come back to retest. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll be ready tomorrow, I'll be ready to, pass. I'm ready. So, I got myself together and, I came back the next day, which was, I think, Wednesday, which is the day I wanted to test anyways. So I came back on Wednesday and, oh, this video is getting pretty long. All right, well, I'm going to do a part 2 to this video, so you guys just stay tuned.